Alright, so this is the rest of the equipment in Compartment 5 on Rescue 5. Compartment 5 is going to be the compartment on the officer side closest to the cab where the Amp tools are. So we have box 5A, B, C, and D, and we're going to go through that equipment now. So first off, we have a soapy water bottle for any sort of cutting with a blade where we might be creating heat. Next we have two reciprocating saws. So there is a difference between these two reciprocating saws. Because we didn't previously have the cache of 60 volt batteries that we do now, we only had 18 volt and 20 volt reciprocating saws. Now that we have all these 20 volt to 60 volt flex volt batteries, we have 60 volt reciprocating saws. We have two of them on the Rescue, one on each side, so box 5A and box 1A. These work the same way as any other reciprocating saw, they just have a little bit more power to them. And they can only work with a 20 volt battery. I'm sorry, 60 volt battery. So for example, while this battery may look the same or similar, this is a 20 volt 6 amp hour battery. It won't fit on this saw. You don't have to worry about screwing it up because it actually won't fit in the saw. It will not lock in. So we have these 60 amp reciprocating saws on each side, and these are going to be our go-to. They have more power to them. And again, just like on box 1A, we always want to have fresh blades, one taped to the saw and one in the saw chuck. We want to make sure that blade is in tight. If you want to change it, we just flip this lever right here. It's the same for the 20 volt and 60 volt saws. We pull our blade out. Now remember, these reciprocating saws can, some of them at least, the 20 volt ones, the blade can go two different directions. So you may find that whatever cutting operation you're doing requires that the blade be sideways, and unfortunately that feature is not present on the 60 volt reciprocating saws, but luckily it's something that we don't have to do too often. So again, with these we just want to check, make sure the battery is good, and make sure they're clean. If there's any glass, debris inside the chuck here, we want to blow that out, just so it doesn't get ground up in the mechanism in there and cause problems later down the road. In here we also have some WD-40 for lubrication. We have additional metal reciprocating saw blades. These Diablo ones, like I talked about for box 1A, have been doing really good work for us. We want to always be using those on vehicle accidents, but they're pretty expensive, and if we're just cutting something metal and time isn't of the essence, you have some other metal blades here that we can use. In here we have some packs of the Diablo Blades. We have a pack of used blades. So these have been used on calls or in training. So they're not perfect, but they still have a lot of life in them, and because they're expensive, we like using these during training until we get everything out of them that we can. But we do want to have fresh blades on them all the time for calls, so that whoever we're serving or rescuing is getting the best care and treatment that we can provide. Moving on to box 1B, excuse me, 5B, we have some additional Dewalt tools. So a light, impact driver, circular saw, and all of these are 20 volt so far. Oscillating tool, this is new to the Rescue, so this is great for small man and machine type operations, or it could be used on a vehicle accident to get into small, hard to reach places. We have additional blades here, and the blade on this is changed just by squeezing this silver lever, wiggling the blade and pulling up. So again, that's a 20 volt, as are all of these tools so far. The only 18 volt tool that we have in this box and actually on the Rescue is the angle grinder, and that's just because it was still doing great, so we kept it on here, and it has an adapter. So it has this 18 volt to 20 volt adapter in there. It accepts a 20 volt battery, and this has a diamond tipped blade, so it's good for cutting metal. It can cut masonry if need be. It can cut wood, but we shouldn't cut wood with it because that'll just gum up our diamond tip blade, and we don't want to do that. Also in here we have a few packs of bits, so we have driver bits, twist bits or drill bits, masonry bits in case we ever have to anchor into something. We have a handle for our hammer drill, tool to change the blade on our angle grinder, a grinding disc, and some cutting discs. So these cutting discs are made for aluminum. I'm sorry, these ones are made for steel. They can be used for aluminum, but they're made for steel. They even could maybe cut masonry if need be, but again, they're made for steel, they're designed for that, and we should be using the angle grind, or I'm sorry, the diamond tip blade whenever we can. Final thing in here is a set of socket adapters for our impact driver, so we can use these instead of a socket wrench to remove any nuts or bolts in a fast manner. So that is box 5B. Box 5C just has one tool in it. We have the Dewalt bandsaw, portable bandsaw. So this is multi-speed. The trigger's right here. And we can turn the speed up with this knob here. The handle moves by twisting this knob and adjusting the handle if we need to. What this is great for is the main thing this is good for is impalements. So something where we don't want to create a lot of heat, we don't want to create a lot of vibration, we don't want to create a lot of sparks. This cuts quickly. It may not be the fastest option for everything, but it has the advantages of not creating sparks, heat, or a lot of friction, or a lot of vibration. So if we have an impalement or something in a vehicle accident, this is going to be our go-to. This, again, takes a 20-volt battery. It can also take the 60-volt batteries. And if we need to change the blade, it's as simple as flipping this. First, we want to take the battery out, of course, and then flipping this lever here, which loosens up our blade. And we have spare blades in here in case we break one. Finally, box 5D. We have a moving blanket and we have spare tarps. So for salvage, for vehicle rescue, all sorts of things. We can use a moving blanket in the cold to package patients, and that's box 5D. So this concludes all the equipment in compartment 5 on Rescue 5. The rest of the equipment in there is AMCUS related, and if you're interested in that, check out that video. Thank you.